And salient features, again, like we discussed for code on wages, it imparts flexibility in adapting dynamic factors and technology. I think this is common. Whatever we discuss for code on wages, the same thing here also. And the provisions for of the proposed code will be applicable to all establishments having 10 or more workers. See, one interesting point is the definition for the term establishment is given. So if there are 10 or more workers, then that industry or whatever it is, that would be considered as an establishment. Then that is required to do a registration. And interestingly, that registration is going to be common. If that registration is done, no other registration is required. One common registration is sufficient, right? Except, of course, in case of mines and docks, because for mines and docks, there is the prescribed number of 10 is not applicable. Even if it is less than 10, it will be applicable for them, right? To provide the concept of one register, I think this is what I said, third point, one registration for all establishments having 10 or more employees, right? And however, so even if there is a factory and there are say 11 workers, then they have to do the registration. But the definition of the term factory is now getting changed. We know that with the power, currently it should be at least 10 workers. Without power, if they are doing the manufacturing process, it should be at least 20 workers. Now that 10 and 20 is increased to 20 and 40. Right, but that is only for the application of that particular part, factories. We saw that under chapter 11, no, that alone. But registration is common. Even if it is less than 20, even if the factory has 11 workers, they may have to do the registration as an establishment, right? But the provisions of the factories chapter may not be applicable. And to include the journalists working in electronic media, such as in e-paper establishment or in radio or in other media, I think they are included in the definition of the term working journalists. And appointment orders. Yeah, currently, I think not all the workers are issued with the appointment orders, but even I would suggest, as a good practice, it is better we issue appointment orders. Some of the state-specific Shops and Commercial Establishments Act, they make a mandate. For example, Karnataka, and it is there in Andhra Pradesh also. They have to, some format is given. So the appointment order is to be issued, and that is to be a copy of which is to be sent to the authority concerned also, right? But now, irrespective of the type of establishment, I think appointment order is to be issued. And there is a provision for making annual health checkup. Of course, it is based on the rules to be framed by the appropriate governments. But of course, it is free of cost, right? Well, maybe if a worker attains certain age, then I think some annual health checkup should be given. So because it is more to detect the diseases, if any, at the early stage, so that treatment can be given to the employees. Again, with respect to interstate migrant workers, to make the provisions relating to ISMW applicable on the establishment in which 10 or more migrant workers. Currently, if you see 5 or more. See, if there are 5 or more interstate migrant workmen, then the ISMW Act will be applicable. That is the current provision. So instead of 5, it is now made as 10. Right? And of course, there is a possibility that interstate migrant worker, they themselves can make a kind of self-declaration and submit their Aadhaar in order to maybe avail whatever benefits which are to be extended to them. Of course, based on the appropriate government will come up with guidelines for that, right? But it is possible. Now, on their own, they can register themselves on the portal, right? Then an interstate migrant worker is to be provided with portability to avail benefits in the destination state. So if a person is belonging to, say, West Bengal, but he is coming down to Tamil Nadu for working, right? So he should avail benefits in the destination state, which means in Tamil Nadu itself, in respect of ration, I think public distribution system and availing other benefits, right? And with maybe building and other construction workers, I think from the cess fund available in the destination state, the amount is to be given to them. So some provisions are now brought out. And again, there is an idea of forming a National Occupational Safety and Health Advisory Board, again to give recommendations constantly to the central government on policy matters. Similarly, State Occupational Safety and Health Advisory Boards, that is also now envisaged. And of course, Constitution of Safety Committee, that is again important. It is already there, but some emphasis is given. And the women workers, they can now work even during the night time, right? So to employ women in all establishments for all types of work, they can also work at night, that is beyond 7 p.m. and before 6 a.m. Currently, we all know section 66(1)(b) of the Factories Act, it puts a bar. for engaging women workers beyond 7 p.m. in the evening, except in the state of Tamil Nadu because of the judgment given by Honorable Madras High Court in R. Vasanta's case, right? I think they hold the section 66 1B as unconstitutional. So it may be possible even today in Tamil Nadu alone, but now I think that restriction is removed. But of course, the women workers' consent is to be obtained before asking her to work during the night time. And there is a provision for common license. We get license under Factories Act, license under Contract Labor Act, license under BD and cigar stuff. So I think multiple transactional activities from different authorities. Now it is made as a common license. And the validity is also made as 5 years, right? And to enable the courts to give a portion of monetary penalties up to 50% to the accident victim. I think again it is more maybe some kind of improvement, and overriding powers to the central government in the event of declaration of epidemic or pandemic, or maybe this may be the experience of based on the recent pandemic. They can bring in regulations, general safety and health with respect to persons residing in whole or part of India. So they will have powers. I think this is recently included, and to make provisions for social security fund for the welfare of unorganized workers, right? It is there under occupational safety code itself, right? It is there in occupational social security also, but it is different than that one. And of course, to make provisions for adjudging the penalties imposed under the code.